Samantha Power became the youngest ever U.S. ambassador to the United Nations under President Obama, and she was just chosen by the Biden administration to lead the U.S. Agency for International Development.
Before that, she won a Pulitzer Prize for her book that examined the U.S. response to the world's genocides. Now she has got a new memoir out called The Education of an Idealist, and Ambassador Samantha Power joins us live. Thanks so much for being with us.
Good morning.
Delighted to be here.
Talk about how things you see are going to shift or have shifted under the Trump administration, and what you think might be happening internationally with the United States in the next 4 years.
Well, of course, the biggest challenge facing the world is the same one facing us here at home. COVID in the economy, COVID in the economy, COVID in the economy, and compounded by a climate emergency that is getting worse each day, each month, each year. So what we have to do is harness the tricks of the trade in diplomacy and bring coalitions together to make sure that the COVID pandemic is dealt with in developing countries as well as here. We know about these new variants. We're all watching the variants and making sure that our vaccines can handle them. Well, the longer COVID is raging in parts of the world we may not be thinking about every day, the greater the risk that those variants proliferate, and that at one point a variant can actually outpace all the vaccine progress that has been made. And our economy roaring back to life, which we needed to do for the sake of Americans, of course, turns on there being markets abroad for our goods. So I think that's the main shift, is the Biden administration's understanding that our fates are connected to the fates of people elsewhere. And at some point, I hope to be part of the team building those alliances, trying to come up with those constructive solutions.
Well, we've had an alliance with Saudi Arabia, but the Saudi prince has been blamed for the execution of an American journalist. So what is the delicate diplomatic dance that you do with Saudi Arabia at this point? Do you let them off the hook because of the alliance, or what do you do?
Well, I think what we've learned over time is that regimes that are very abusive to their people often then fall into doing things that are very detrimental to our interests. And I think in the Saudi case, the war in Yemen has been devastating to the people in Yemen. I think it's really important that President Biden has cut off assistance to the Saudis who are prosecuting that very deadly war. So really, being prepared to walk and chew gum at the same time. We have shared interests with Saudi Arabia for sure, but we are more energy independent than we were when some of the initial assumptions around that relationship took hold. And that allows us to be more outspoken, as I think you're seeing President Biden be.
People woke up this morning to find out the U.S. military carried out airstrikes in Syria. It's the first military action under President Biden. What does that mean? Does this mean we'll see more of that?
I don't think so. I think the Biden administration recognized that there were attacks on U.S. troops. I don't think it's reflective of President Biden's desire to drag the United States into conflict. It's reflective of a great vulnerability to U.S. forces who are in harm's way, and many of them are on their 6th, 7th, 8th tours of duty. And I think President Biden knows what it's like, of course, to be a father of a soldier deployed, and wants to look out for our troops. And I think the message was sent, and it's a deterrent message above all.
As an idealist who's at some point on the outside of government, then you go to being inside the government, pretty high up. What surprised you the most, or perhaps even disappointed you?
I'd actually, my revelations and epiphanies went in the other direction. I think it was pleasantly surprising. I'd been an activist and a critic of U.S. foreign policy for a long time. And to actually be in the room where it happens with people who are not going into public service for the money, that's for sure, or for the hours and the lifestyle. But it was the integrity of effort to try to come up with solutions that are going to work for the American people. And the humor in the bowels of the Situation Room, the humanity. I myself write in The Education of an Idealist about trying to have a child while the Arab Spring is raging, and I'm not able to do it naturally, so I'm doing IVF. At the same time, I'm trying to advise the president as his human rights advisor about what to do about all of this turbulence in the world. And I think, most Americans identify, if not with being in the Situation Room or necessarily with going through IVF, just the balance that we all seek to strike between living a good life and being good to our families and taking care of them and ourselves. At the same time, we try to do our jobs well, and the strain and the tug that we pull in all directions. And so I think getting into government just sort of took away the exotic, rarefied sense of what government was. And it's just a reminder that it's people just like you and me who are trying to do their best for a higher cause.
Well, the book is called The Education of an Idealist, now out in paperback. Samantha Power, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.